Men, what happened when she said, "I miss you," and you didn't reply? Story 1. When Anna texted, "I miss you," I was sitting on my couch with my fiancé asleep against my shoulder. Same phone number, same typing bubble, same sting in my chest as 3 years ago when she said, "I need space," and moved in with the guy she told me not to worry about. I watched the message for a full minute. "I miss you." No apology. No, "I'm sorry I lied." Just nostalgia in quotation marks. I locked my phone and didn't reply. 2 days later, my sister called. "Dude, did you see Anna's post?" Apparently, she'd put some long, sad caption on Instagram about how some people change their number, some people change their heart, and how I was cold and unrecognizable. Mutual friends started messaging me, asking what I'd done. I sent one screenshot to the group chat, her cheating confession from 3 years back. The one where she wrote, "I know you'll never trust me again and I deserve it." Silence. One friend replied, "Okay, that explains a lot." I still didn't answer her, "I miss you." Instead, I turned my phone off, pulled the blanket over my fiancé, and kissed her forehead. Anna can miss the version of me that let her walk all over him. That guy finally stopped replying. And honestly, that's the only closure either of us is ever getting. Story 2. My ex-wife texted, "I miss you," at 2 in the morning on a Tuesday. I only saw it at 7, when I woke up for work and checked my phone between packing my daughter's lunch and finding her missing shoe. Context. She left 2 years ago. Said she was done being a mom at 27, moved in with some DJ, saw our kid maybe once every other month if it looked good on her Instagram story. "I miss you." I stared at it. I thought of hospital visits alone, school meetings alone, my daughter asking why mommy forgot her birthday. I thought of the divorce hearing where my ex showed up late, sunglasses on, trying to charm the judge. So I put my phone down, poured cereal, tied pigtails, and went to work. No reply. That afternoon, my lawyer called. "Just a heads up," she said. "Your ex reached out. She wants to revisit custody, says you're alienating her and refusing peaceful communication. She mentioned a text that you ignored." I laughed. Actually laughed. My lawyer asked if I wanted to send screenshots of missed visitations, the messages where she bailed, the child support she never paid. "We can absolutely revisit custody," she said. "This time in your favor." So what happened when she said, "I miss you," and I didn't reply? She walked into court expecting my silence to make me look bitter. Instead, it gave my lawyer a clean, documented trail of exactly how little effort she'd made. She lost even the supervised visits she barely used. And my daughter, for once, didn't wait at the window for a car that never showed. Story 3. She texted, "I miss you," on the anniversary of the day she ghosted me. No joke. Same date. 1 year later. Last year, she disappeared mid-conversation. We were planning a weekend trip. She was so excited. Next day, blocked. A week later, her relationship status changed and I realized I'd been the emotional support guy while she lined up someone better. I spiraled for months. Therapy, gym, journaling, all of it. 12 months later, at 11:47 p.m., my phone lights up with a new number. "It's me. I miss you." My stomach dropped. Then I noticed I didn't even feel that old panic, just annoyance. I'd spent a year learning not to beg people to stay. I'd moved cities, made actual friends, started sleeping again. I could have replied. I could have asked why now, what happened, if he'd dumped her and she was circling back to the safe guy. I could have given her exactly what she wanted. Proof I'd waited. I put my phone face down and went back to my group call. We were playing an online game, my friends yelling in my headphones, my roommate laughing in the next room. An hour later, guess not. "Good night." I didn't respond to that either. What happened? Nothing cinematic. No big confrontation. No speech. She messaged my best friend months later saying I'd turned cold and heartless. My friend told her the truth. He's not heartless. He just finally realized he deserves better than being someone's backup plan. And the funny part? That hurt her more than any angry paragraph ever would have. Story 4. She was my coworker first, then my girlfriend, then my lesson. We worked in the same department, sneaking kisses in the stairwell, planning trips we never took. When she got promoted, she suddenly became too busy and too stressed, but not too busy to flirt with clients and add them on socials. I was controlling for noticing. One night I walked into a bar with some friends and saw her on a date with a guy she'd told me was just a contact. She saw me, froze, then leaned in and kissed him harder. I left. Broke up by text. Blocked her everywhere but work email. Months later, after she burned that bridge and 2 more, she found my personal number again. I was in a meeting when my phone lit up. "I miss you." No one got me like you did. I watched the notification vanish as the screen locked. I didn't open it. Didn't give her the read receipt. The ego boost? The proof she still had access. The next week at work, she cornered me in the break room. So we're just not going to talk? We talk, I said, grabbing my coffee. About spreadsheets, not feelings. Her eyes watered. Then the rumors started. He changed after we broke up. He's so cold now. He's punishing me. What actually happened was this. People watched how I treated everyone else. Kind, respectful, professional, and realized my coldness existed only where she'd burned me. The narrative flipped. Suddenly, I wasn't the villain, just the one person at the office who finally enforced a boundary with her. And when she said, I miss you, and I didn't reply, she lost the one thing she'd counted on more than my love. Guaranteed access to my attention. Story 5. We were a long-distance cliché waiting to happen. She lived in another country. We met online during lockdown, stayed up all night on video calls, made stupid playlists. I saved for a year to visit. 2 weeks before my flight, she said she needed to be honest. There was someone local. It had just happened. She was confused. I canceled the tickets. Ate the fees. Blocked her. Spent months angry at myself for believing in time zones and promises. Fast forward 18 months. I'd gone back to school, started a new job, even booked a trip with friends to the city I was originally supposed to visit. Not for her, just because I finally wanted to see it without the illusion. The night before my flight, she messaged me from a different account. I miss you. I think about you all the time. I wish I'd waited. I stared at it. My suitcase half-packed on the floor. My heart squeezed. Not from love, but from how familiar the manipulation felt. I miss you, translated to, I regret that my plan didn't pan out like I thought. I imagined answering. I saw the whole script. Emotional reunion, apologies, old wounds reopened, me walking those streets looking for the ghost of a relationship that existed mostly in my head. Instead, I closed the app. No response. On the trip, I posted photos of food, museums, stupid selfies with my friends. She saw them. I know because she viewed the stories from a burner profile with the most obvious username ever. What happened when she said, I miss you, and I didn't reply? Nothing and everything. She stayed stuck replaying what we were. I finally got to live the life I'd put on hold for her. In her city, without her name attached to a single memory. Story 6. My ex texted, I miss you from her honeymoon. I only know because the picture she posted to her story, champagne glass, ocean view, his hand with a wedding band, had the same timestamp as the message. 1 minute it's, finally with my soulmate. The next my phone lights up with her name for the first time in a year. I miss you. I don't know why I can't stop thinking about you. This is the same woman who told me I was too safe, that she needed someone exciting, and left for a guy who crashed his motorcycle and then her credit. I sat there staring at my screen, feeling that old punch of nostalgia and humiliation fight in my chest. My girlfriend, the one who came after the disaster, was in the kitchen humming while she cooked, wearing my hoodie and burning the garlic like she always did. I could have answered. I could have written a paragraph about how much she'd hurt me, how she had no right to text me on her honeymoon of all times. I could have blown up her little fantasy bubble in one message. Instead, I locked my phone, walked into the kitchen, and wrapped my arms around my girlfriend from behind. Later, my buddy sent a screenshot from our old group chat. My ex had posted some men are heartless rant about how I'd ignored a sincere attempt at closure and proved he never really loved me. He replied with one sentence. You're married. Why are you texting him at all? The chat went dead after that. What happened when she said, I miss you, and I didn't reply? Her mask slipped in public. Mine finally stayed off. Story 7. She texted, I miss you, right after my mom died. This is important. She never liked my family. Said my mom was too involved, my sisters were nosy, that I was too much of a mama's boy. When things got serious, she gave me an actual ultimatum. Move closer to her city and cut down on family time. Or she'd leave. She left. We hadn't spoken in 9 months when my mother had a sudden stroke. I posted one photo. Me holding my mom's hand in the hospital, tubes everywhere, captioned, wish I had more time. An hour later, a new message. I just saw, I miss you. I'm here if you need anything. I always told you to live more for yourself. The same line she used to justify walking out. I stared at it from the hard chair next to my mom's bed. My dad was asleep in the corner. My sister was filling out paperwork with swollen eyes. I could feel the hook in her words. If I answered, she'd become part of this story somehow. She'd show up at the funeral. She'd turn my grief into proof that we were meant to be, because she'd always understood me. Instead, I put my phone on airplane mode and focused on memorizing the wrinkles around my mom's eyes. After the funeral, my sister asked, Did she text you? Yeah. What did you say? Nothing. My sister smiled in that tired way where it's half grief, half pride. Good. Mom always thought she was selfish. What happened when she said, I miss you, and I didn't reply? For the first time in my life, I chose my own peace, and my family's, over the temptation to reopen a door that had already hurt everyone once. Story 8. My ex-girlfriend sent I miss you the night before her wedding rehearsal. We hadn't spoken in 2 years. The breakup was nuclear. She cheated, I found out. She cried, said it meant nothing, then went right back to him once she realized I wasn't taking her back. I muted her on everything, but we had mutuals, so I still saw the engagement photos, the ring, the countdown posts. I thought I was over it. Then, at 11 p.m., my phone buzzed. I miss you. I keep wondering what my life would be if I'd picked you. No context. No apology. Just a confession like I was some safe little diary she could unload her doubts into before walking down the aisle with someone else. My first instinct was anger. Second was pity. Third was the worst. Curiosity. What if I replied? What if she wanted to call it off? What if I was the backup plan she suddenly wanted to reinstall as plan A? I paced circles in my apartment, drafting texts I never sent. Too late. Then don't marry him. You didn't pick me when it mattered. My thumb hovered over send. Then I imagined being him, standing there with my tux, thinking I had a bride who was all in, while she was texting another man, I miss you, less than 24 hours earlier. I deleted everything, turned my phone off, and went to bed. The next day, a mutual friend posted a photo from the venue. She looked gorgeous. He looked ecstatic. Comments flooded in. Perfect couple. So meant to be. And all I could think was, he has no idea. What happened when she said, I miss you, and I didn't reply? I didn't blow up her wedding. I didn't play hero or homewrecker. I just quietly refused to let her indecision make me complicit in a lie. That silence sits between them now, not between us. Story 9. She said, I miss you, as if she hadn't spent 3 years convincing everyone I was the crazy one. We dated in college. It was one of those intense, codependent things where every fight was public and every reconciliation was too. When I finally left, she told mutual friends I was emotionally abusive, that I isolated her, that she was healing from trauma. I didn't defend myself. I just disappeared. Changed gyms, study spots, friend groups. Let people believe what they wanted while I rebuilt myself from scratch. Years later, I'd moved to another city and was in therapy, finally getting words for what she actually was. Manipulative, jealous, controlling. Then one day, a message request pops up. Hey stranger, I miss you. I've grown so much. I think we could be something real now. I clicked on her profile. Picture perfect life. Curated soft girl aesthetic. Captions about protecting your peace. I remembered her screaming at me in a parking lot because a female barista had smiled at me. I typed, I'm glad you're doing better. I'm not interested in reconnecting. Then I erased it. I realized she didn't want closure. She wanted proof she could still pull me back with one sentence. She wanted to rewrite history as we were both toxic instead of I was toxic and he escaped. So I did the one thing she could never spin in her favor. Absolutely nothing. Months later, a mutual friend messaged me. She told people she reached out and you left her on red. She's saying it confirmed you never cared. For a second, that stung. Then I asked, and do you believe that? Dude, he replied, we were there. We saw how she treated you. Her texting you now just proves she hasn't changed. What happened when she said, I miss you, and I didn't reply? Her narrative finally collapsed under the weight of her own receipts. Mine finally stopped needing a defense. Story 10. She texted, I miss you, after seeing me at the park with my son. She's not the mother. She's the ex from my 20s, the one who said I'd be a terrible dad because I was too soft and didn't stand up to my own father's harshness. She wanted the tough love macho version of me that yelled back and put people in their place. I wanted to break that cycle. She dumped me, called me weak, and left. Years later, I'm at the park pushing my kid on a swing. My wife is on the bench next to a stroller, laughing at something on her phone. I feel someone staring and turn. It's my ex, frozen with her iced coffee halfway to her mouth. We make eye contact. She looks away fast. I shrug it off. That night, the message, I saw you today. I miss you. You would have been an amazing dad. I was stupid. For a while, I just sat there. Part of me wanted to say, I am an amazing dad, just not yours. Part of me wanted the ego boost of her finally admitting she was wrong. Part of me remembered how small I used to feel trying to prove my softness wasn't weakness. My wife walked in, saw my face, and asked, Hey, you okay? I showed her the message. She read it, handed the phone back, and said, You don't owe the past a reply, so I didn't answer. I archived the chat. Over the next few weeks, I'd catch my ex at the park sometimes, lingering a little too long near us, clearly debating whether to say something. She never did. We never acknowledged each other. What happened when she said, "I miss you," and I didn't reply? Nothing exploded. No scene. No dramatic monologue. Just a quiet, decisive line between the man I was when I needed her approval and the dad I am now, who only cares whether one small human on that swing thinks I'm enough. Story 11. She texted, "I miss you," from the same number she used to blow up my phone when she needed rent money. We had dated for 2 years. By the end, I was basically an ATM with feelings. Every "I love you" had a price tag. "Can you cover my car payment? My card got declined. Can you send something?" When I finally said no, she said I was changing and withholding support, then left for a guy whose dad owned 3 restaurants. I paid off my last credit card from that era and promised myself never again. 3 years later, I'd quietly built my life back. Different apartment, new job, savings account that wasn't a joke. Then, at 1:13 a.m., my phone lit up. "I miss you. No one has ever taken care of me like you did." No apology. No, I was wrong. Just a nostalgia-tinged reminder that when she thinks of me, she still thinks of comfort. I clicked on her profile out of morbid curiosity. The restaurant guy? Gone. New pictures with captions about rebuilding and learning who's real. I could practically see the unpaid bills through the screen. I typed, "You don't miss me. You miss the version of yourself that didn't have to grow up." Then I deleted it. Next payday, I moved a chunk of money into a separate savings account labeled Future Me. It felt almost petty. It also felt like the opposite of sending it to her in the middle of the night. A mutual friend later told me she'd complained that I ignored a cry for help, and that it proved I'd never cared. The friend just looked at her and went, "Or maybe he just stopped letting you use him." What happened when she said, "I miss you," and I didn't reply? My money finally stayed with the only person who actually earned it. The guy who went through hell getting it back. Story 12. She texted, "I miss you," halfway through my HR investigation. We worked at the same company. When we were together, she'd joke about how I was obsessed with her and always around. After she dumped me for another coworker, those same behaviors magically turned into harassment in her story. She went to HR claiming I was making her uncomfortable, that I lingered at her desk, that I couldn't accept it was over. They opened a formal case. I got the email, the calendar invite, the cold dread. In the meeting, they asked if I'd reached out to her outside work since the breakup. I showed them my phone. No calls, no texts. One message months ago where I wished her good luck on a project. That was it. The investigator nodded slowly. That night, as if the universe wanted to underline the insanity, she sent me a DM from her personal account. "I miss you. I didn't want things to get this ugly. Can we just talk like we used to?" I stared at the message, then took a screenshot and emailed it to the HR investigator with the subject line, "Update." Next day, I got called back in. They had her in a separate room. Turns out she'd told them I wouldn't leave her alone, but the only recent communication between us was her new "I miss you" message. The case quietly flipped. The questions changed. So did the tone. A week later, I was cleared. She got a warning about false reports and inconsistent testimony. She's still there, but now people give her a different kind of side-eye when she complains. What happened when she said, "I miss you," and I didn't reply? Her message became Exhibit A. Not of our great love story, but of exactly how far she'd go to rewrite it. Story 13. She texted, "I miss you," 4 hours after posting her engagement photo. The ring was massive. The caption was even bigger. "Found my forever." Hundreds of likes, comments, heart emojis. I saw it because a friend sent it to me with the classy note, "Bullet." Dodged. I laughed it off, muted the post, went on with my day. Then my phone buzzed. "I miss you. I keep thinking about how simple things were with you." I checked the contact twice to be sure. Same number. Same girl who'd told me I lacked ambition because I didn't want to move across the country to trail her career. She needed a provider, she said. Someone who matched her hunger. Apparently she'd found him. And still wanted me as emotional takeout on the side. I didn't answer. Instead, I took my roommate out for cheap tacos to celebrate his promotion. We laughed, drank, complained about our boss. In the middle of the meal, another text popped up. "Guess silence is your answer." I just wanted closure. Closure. Interesting word for comfort before marrying someone else. Weeks later, I heard through the grapevine that her fiancé had found the messages. He didn't confront me. We've never spoken. But he did confront her. Loudly. A mutual described it like this. "She thought you'd send something she could spin as you chasing her to prove she was in demand. Instead, she had a one-sided "I miss you" thread and a furious fiancé holding her phone. What happened when she said, "I miss you," and I didn't reply? Her little fantasy of having two men orbiting her collapsed, and I was nowhere near the blast radius. Story 14. She texted, "I miss you" from rehab. We'd been together through her worst years. The drinking, the pills, the disappearances. I tried to be supportive, then savior, then warden. None of it worked. Every boundary I set dissolved the second she cried or promised it would be different. It was never different. The last straw was waking up to my car gone and a charge on my card from some club I'd never set foot in. When she finally answered, she slurred, "Relax, I'll pay you back," as if she hadn't already said that about a dozen times. I broke up. She checked into rehab a month later, according to a mutual friend. She messaged me halfway through her stay. "I miss you. You were the only one who truly loved me when I was broken." I sat with that line for a long time. The old me would have been in the car already, rehearsing speeches about how proud I was of her, how we could start fresh when she got out. But therapy had taught me something brutal. Sometimes, "you loved me when I was broken" actually means you tolerated me when I was killing myself and dragging you with me. I didn't reply. I did screenshot it and read it out loud to my therapist. We talked about it for an entire session. He asked, "If you respond, are you doing it for her healing or for the version of yourself that needs to feel needed?" Honestly, it would have been for the second one. Months later, I heard she'd completed the program and was doing okay. She sent one more message, just, "Thank you for stepping back." It forced me to see who was really still there. I didn't respond to that either. It felt like the first time we were both finally honest. What happened when she said, "I miss you," and I didn't reply? She learned to heal without turning me into a crutch again. I learned that sometimes the kindest thing you can do, for both of you, is nothing at all. Story 15. She texted, "I miss you," the night my song hit 1 million streams. Back when we were dating, music was my cute little hobby. She'd roll her eyes when I skipped nights out to record, call my gigs open mic nonsense, and joke to her friends that she was waiting to see how long until he gives up and gets a real job. Our breakup speech included the line, "I can't build a future on your delusions." Cool, super supportive. 2 years later, I'm not famous or anything, but I have a steady following online. One track randomly blew up on a playlist, and my phone was melting from notifications. My friends came over with cheap champagne. We were crowded in my crappy living room watching the little counter tick over to 1,000 plays. Right in the middle of everyone screaming, a different notification slid down from the top. Her name. "I miss you. Hearing your song everywhere made me realize what we had. I always believed in you." Everyone saw my face change. My best friend grabbed my phone, read it, and just shook his head. "This is exactly why you need a passcode, bro." I took the phone back, opened her message, hovered over the keyboard. Part of me wanted to send a screenshot of her old texts telling me to grow up and stop chasing childish dreams. Part of me wanted to rub the million in her face. Instead, I dropped the phone on the table, face down, and went back to my friends. My manager later asked if I'd ever use the story for PR, spin it into some ex who doubted me revenge narrative. Maybe I could. People love that arc. But the truth is, I don't want her attached to the one thing that finally felt like it was mine. What happened when she said, "I miss you," and I didn't reply? The song kept climbing. The party kept going. For the first time, my success wasn't a conversation with her. It was a room full of people who'd believed in me, even when there was nothing to screenshot. Story 16. She texted, "I miss you," the day my therapist finally said, "I think you're done here unless you want to stay." She had been my first serious relationship. Also the first person who weaponized my mental health against me. Anytime I got anxious, it was, "You're so dramatic. You're overthinking again. You're exhausting." Then, when I was finally burned out and distant, she'd cry and say, "I just miss the old you." The old me was the one who let her pick my friends, read my messages, and decide which parts of my personality were too much. After I left, I did the cliché healing arc. Deleted photos, blocked her, went to therapy. It was slow and boring and honestly not very cinematic. Just a lot of ugly crying and learning how to be alone without feeling empty. Then, on the day my therapist said I'd made real progress, my phone buzzed in the waiting room. "I miss you. I've grown so much. Maybe we could try again now that we're both better." I stared at it and realized something disgusting. A year ago, that exact text would have been my dream scenario. Proof that all my pain meant something. That we'd get a season 2. Now it just read like a test. I walked back into the therapist's office and read it out loud. He asked, "If you got back together, what would be different?" I opened my mouth and had no answer that didn't involve me shrinking again. So I didn't reply. Weeks later, a mutual friend told me she was calling me cold, and emotionally stunted for refusing to revisit things like an adult. The old me might have crumbled hearing that. This version shrugged and thought, if not letting the person who broke me narrate my healing makes me cold, I'll happily be ice. Story 17. She texted, I miss you after my dad died. Not because she cared about my grief, but because she cared about the will. She and I had dated for 4 years. My family never loved her, but they were polite. She, on the other hand, made it very clear my parents were backward, and my dad held you back with his small-town mindset. When I mentioned that my dad had put some money aside for me, she joked, good, because you're going to need that if you ever want a life with me. We broke up when she gave me an ultimatum. Move with her to another country and sever contact with my toxic family. Or stay here and rot. I chose rot. Fast forward 2 years. My dad passes away. I'm wrecked. We have a small funeral, close friends and relatives only. I post one photo of his old toolbox with a caption about how he taught me everything I know. That night, a familiar number pops up. I heard about your dad. I miss you. I always knew you were meant for more than that town. If you ever want to get out and start over, I'm here. It took my foggy brain a second to connect the dots. She didn't just see a grieving ex. She saw a grieving ex who might have just inherited enough money to fund her escape plan. I didn't answer. Instead, I forwarded the text to my sister with the message, you'll never believe this. She called me immediately, equal parts furious and amused. Please tell me you're blocking her. Already done. Later, I found out through mutuals that she was telling people I'd become cold and money-driven, that my dad's death changed me, and I'd shut out everyone who loved me. What actually changed was simple. The last time she made me choose between her and my family, I picked her and lost everything. This time, I chose the people who were already gone but never once tried to sell my future. Story 18. She texted, I miss you, from the front row of my wedding livestream. No, seriously. We dated when we were kids, basically. Teenage intensity, early 20s drama. She was my first everything, and she knew it. Anytime I tried to set a boundary, she'd hit me with, no one will ever love you like I do, or you think anyone else would tolerate you? When we finally broke up, it was messy. She screamed that I'd never move on. Then she moved 3 cities away and blocked me on everything. Years passed. I met my now wife. A kind, stable, quiet person who didn't think every disagreement needed a screaming match. When we got engaged, we decided on a small ceremony with a live stream for faraway relatives. Turns out, the link wasn't as private as we thought. A cousin shared it on Facebook. Somewhere in the algorithm soup, my ex found it. Mid-ceremony, my phone was off. Afterward, at the hotel, I turned it onto a stack of notifications. Buried between congratulations was her message. Time-stamped right as my wife and I were doing our vows. I miss you. I should have been the one up there with you. For a second, I felt that old teenage dizziness in my chest. Not because I wanted her, just because the audacity short-circuited my brain. I showed my wife. She read it, rolled her eyes, and said, that explains why your cousin's ex kept trying to fix the tripod angle. We laughed. Then I blocked the number. No reply, no dramatic closure. A week later, I heard she'd posted some vague story about some men marrying the safe choice when they really want the passionate one. People who knew us commented heart emojis. People who really knew us sent me screenshots and you dodged a bomb messages. What happened when she said, I miss you, and I didn't reply? Nothing touched my marriage. Her fantasy of being the one who got away stayed exactly where it belonged. On the other side of a screen, muted. Story 19. She texted, I miss you, after my younger brother finally blocked her on everything. She and I had broken up almost a year earlier, but she didn't really break up with my family. She still DM'd my brother memes, still reacted to my sister's stories, still sent my mom birthday messages as if we were just on a break. We weren't. She'd cheated, repeatedly. Then argued it wasn't that deep, because she never caught feelings. Apparently my feelings didn't factor in. I went no contact. My family, being kinder than me, stayed polite. Until she started playing weird games, sending my brother screenshots of guys flirting with her, asking my sister if I was dating anyone, dropping I miss your brother in every conversation like a grenade. Finally, my brother called me. Is it okay if I block her? Dude, I said, you should have done that months ago. He did. The next day I got the text. I miss you. Your whole family is cutting me off. Can we please talk? I know I messed up, but losing all of you is killing me. For a moment, it hit me. She didn't just lose me. She lost the group chats, the holiday invites, my mom's random soup deliveries. We had been her safety net when her own family was a mess. But then I remembered my brother's voice. Tired, annoyed, 20 years old, and dragged into drama he never asked for. My mom's face when she quietly admitted she felt used for emotional support. I didn't answer. Instead, I sent a message to the family group chat. If anyone feels bad for blocking her, don't. I'm proud of you. My mom responded with a single heart emoji. My brother wrote, best thing I've done all year. What happened when she said, I miss you, and I didn't reply? For once, I didn't let my nostalgia override the damage she'd done. Not just to me, but to the people she treated like extensions of me instead of humans. Story 20. She texted, I miss you right before my surgery, because I'd stupidly told Twitter about it. I was going in for a pretty serious procedure. Not life or death, but still big enough to scare me. I tweeted something vague, getting cut open tomorrow, send memes. My friends spammed my DMs with jokes and good luck wishes. Buried between those messages was her text. We'd dated for a year. She loved the version of me that cracked jokes when things got dark. But the second my own anxiety showed up, she accused me of playing victim. When I'd had a panic attack once, she literally said, this is exhausting. I can't keep doing this. So I stopped letting her. I ended it. It was ugly. Months later, she must have seen my tweet. I heard you're having surgery. I miss you. I don't want anything to happen to you with things like this between us. There it was. The trap. If I replied and everything went fine, she'd claim we were working things out. If something went wrong, she'd get to tell herself we'd reconciled before the worst. I sat in the hospital bed, gown and IV and all, rereading the words, I miss you, until they lost meaning. My best friend was in the chair beside me, having showed up at 6 in the morning with terrible coffee and a backpack full of snacks. Who's that? He asked when he saw my face. I handed him the phone. He read the text, then looked at me. You're not actually considering replying, are you? I don't want to die with bad blood, I admitted. He snorted. She created the blood. You just stopped bleeding for her. I locked my phone and had the surgery. It went well. I woke up groggy to a flood of messages from friends and family. Hers was buried farther down, now joined by a second. I guess you're still mad. I tried. I didn't answer that one either. What happened when she said, I miss you, and I didn't reply? I learned that forgiveness doesn't always require contact, especially with someone who only remembers your humanity when they're afraid of losing the right to claim they cared. Story 21. She texted, I miss you, to the same number she'd once blocked from everything. Back then, I was the clingy ex, apparently. We broke up because I wanted labels. She wanted freedom. She'd keep me on rotation, drunk calls, late night come over, then week-long disappearances where her Instagram suddenly got very full of just friends. After one particularly gross incident, she left my place at 3 a.m. and posted a boomerang at another guy's apartment an hour later. I finally snapped and said, lose my number. She laughed, then blocked me before I could block her. 2 years later, I'd switched phones and jobs. I was out to dinner with my new girlfriend when an unknown number popped up. It's me. I miss you. I finally understand what we had. My heart did that stupid flip. She'd never admitted I meant anything. I excused myself to the bathroom and reread it 10 times, my brain writing fake closure speeches. Then it hit me. She had no idea who I was now. She didn't know my girlfriend's name, my job, the therapy sessions, the lapsed gym membership, any of it. She missed the version of me frozen in her head, not the actual me sitting over a plate of half-eaten pasta. I walked back to the table, put my phone face down, and focused on the woman in front of me. We split dessert, went home, fell asleep on the couch halfway through a movie. The next day, another text. Wow, guess I got my answer. She posted some vague story about men who pretend they cared but can't even answer a simple message. A mutual sent it to me with, is this about you? I just replied, probably. Doesn't matter. What happened when she said, I miss you, and I didn't reply? For once, her version of me stayed in her world only. Mine didn't have to go back and clean it up. Story 22. She texted, I miss you, 3 months after telling everyone I was emotionally unstable. We'd had this on-again, off-again situationship nobody could define. When I finally asked for clarity, she called me intense and obsessed with labels. After I ended it, she told mutual friends I'd scared her, that I was too attached, that she might need a restraining order one day. That rumor followed me around for a bit. Girls I barely knew started avoiding me at parties. One guy pulled me aside and said, bro, you're giving stalker vibes, based on her version alone. So I went invisible. New hangouts, new people. Months passed. Then a random Thursday night, my phone lit up. I miss you. I've been doing a lot of work on myself and I see now how much you loved me. I stared at it and felt numb. The guy who watched his reputation crumble would have sprinted at that breadcrumb. The current me was picturing what she'd say if we got back together and it ended again. See? I told you he was obsessed. He kept coming back. I left the message unread and opened a group chat instead. Sent a meme, laughed with friends, went to bed. A week later, one of those mutual friends texted me, "Okay, I get it now. She's telling people she gave you another chance and you blew it by ghosting, but she also admits you haven't contacted her in months. The math is not mathing. Her, 'I miss you,' and my silence finally exposed the pattern she'd been hiding with dramatic stories. People saw the contradiction. Not because I defended myself, but because she ran out of ways to spin a one-sided conversation. Story 23. She texted, 'I miss you,' after sending me the wedding invitation, addressed to the wrong girlfriend. We'd broken up a year earlier. She cheated, we fought, she cried, I left. Pretty standard disaster. We tried the let's be mature and stay friends thing for about 2 weeks, until I realized friends meant emotional support whenever her new guy was busy. Blocked. Done. Fast forward. I'm with someone new. Healthy relationship. No midnight drama. Out of nowhere, an email pops up from my ex with a PDF. Would love for you and Emily to be there on my big day. Problem was, my current girlfriend's name is Sarah. Emily was the girl I dated before her. So not only was she inviting me to her wedding, she'd apparently copy-pasted an old contact list she hadn't even updated. I didn't respond. 2 days later, text. I miss you. I hope we can be in each other's lives again. It would mean so much if you came. I imagined showing up, my presence used as proof of her evolved maturity. I imagined being in the background of their first dance photos, the guy she stayed friends with, like a prop. Then I imagined my own girlfriend's face if I told her, hey, mind if I go watch my cheating ex get married? I deleted the email, left the text on read, and took Sarah out for brunch instead. We spent the day talking about nothing and everything, not once mentioning my ex. Later, a mutual told me the ex had complained that I'd ignored her peace offering and chose bitterness over growth. Funny, coming from someone who couldn't be bothered to learn my partner's name but wanted me clapping in the background of her happy ending. What happened when she said, I miss you, and I didn't reply? She still got her fairy tale photos. I just wasn't part of the props department. Story 24. She texted, I miss you, after my little sister got engaged, and tagged me in the comments. We all grew up together. High school sweethearts, same friend group, same hometown drama. When my ex and I split, it tore through the group chat like a grenade. People took sides. She got most of them, including my little sister at first. Over time, my sister saw more than the curated breakup story. She saw the late-night calls, the guilt trips, the tell your brother he owes me a conversation. Eventually, she just stopped replying to my ex, too. Years passed. My sister posted her engagement photos. Sunset, ring, fiancé kneeling in the sand. I commented, proud big brother moment, with some cheesy emojis. A couple of hours later, I saw a new comment. My ex, under my sister's post. So beautiful. You two give me hope and love again. Ami, I miss my best friend. Before I could even process that, my phone buzzed. I miss you. Seeing your sister so happy made me realize how much I want us back in each other's lives. I stared at it. Then at her comment. Then at my sister's name tagged right there. It wasn't just a private text. It was a public performance, positioning herself as part of our family moment. I didn't respond. My sister did. Under the comment, she wrote, please don't use my engagement to reach my brother. Respect our boundaries. The comment disappeared a few minutes later. So did my ex's DM. She unsent it. But the notification log still showed the first line, I miss you. What happened when she said it and I didn't reply? For once, I didn't have to defend my boundaries alone. The people she used to access me closed the door for me, and my silence finally had backup. Story 25. She texted, I miss you, after the group chat voted me in as best man for her brother's wedding. Her brother and I stayed friends after the breakup. He saw everything. The fights, the cheating, the way she'd twist any criticism into an attack. When we split, he told her he loved her but wasn't cutting me off. She called it disloyal. He called it being a grown-up. When he got engaged, he put our whole group in a chat and asked who should be best man. People joked, nominated a few names. Then he dropped, honestly, I want it to be me. Nobody's had my back like him. Silence. Then, unanimous yes. I was excited and sick at the same time. Being best man meant speeches, photos, family dinners, and her. Sure enough, 2 days later, I heard you're his best man. I miss you. Can we talk before all of this? I don't want weird tension. It sounded reasonable. Adult even. Talk it out. Clear the air. Be polite for the big day. But then I remembered every adult conversation we'd tried to have in the past and how it ended. Circles, deflection, me apologizing for bringing up how hurt I'd been. I pictured us in some cafe, her crying, saying she never stopped loving me, And suddenly the whole wedding becoming a backstage soap opera. So I didn't reply. I texted her brother instead. If my being best man makes things weird, say the word and I'll step down. He phoned me immediately. If anyone steps down, it won't be you. At the wedding, we were cordial. Nods, polite smiles, zero small talk. She looked like she wanted to start a sentence a few times, but the moment passed. I did my speech, made her brother cry, everyone clapped. Later that night, he hugged me and said, "Thank you for not letting my sister's drama ruin this for me." What happened when she said, "I miss you," and I didn't reply? Nothing exploded. No scene, no hallway confrontation. The only story told that day was about his relationship, not our ruins. And honestly, that felt like the cleanest ending we were ever going to get. Story 26. She texted, "I miss you," the week I finally stopped calling myself the almost dad. We'd gotten pregnant by accident. I was terrified, but also weirdly excited. I started Googling cribs, watching dad TikToks, planning budgets. She swung between panic and warmth. Then one day she texted, "We need to talk," and showed up at my apartment with that numb, rehearsed face. She told me she'd had a miscarriage. No warning, no chance for me to sit next to her in a hospital. Nothing. Just, "It's over. We'll try again when we're ready." I cried, grieved, blamed my bad genes, my bad luck. 6 months later, a mutual friend got drunk and spilled it. There had been no miscarriage. She'd had an abortion and didn't tell me because she couldn't handle my feelings. And her mom told her, "It's your body, your choice. He doesn't need a vote." I went nuclear, then silent. Broke up, blocked her, went to therapy to process both the baby and the lie. Years later, I'm with someone new. We're doing it right this time, talking through everything, planning, not rushing. When my girlfriend tells me she wants to start trying for a baby next year, I feel happy without that old grief choking it. That night, my ex's text pops up out of nowhere. "I miss you." I still think about the family we could have had. My chest tightened, but not with longing, with rage. She'd erased me from the first family decision, and now she wanted credit for the fantasy of it. I didn't reply. I screenshotted it, sent it to my therapist, and then deleted the thread. A week later, a mutual DM'd me. "She's telling people she reached out for closure, and you're too immature to talk." I remember what actually happened, though. What happened when she said, "I miss you," and I didn't reply? For once, the only person allowed in my future kid's story is someone who doesn't rewrite my past to make herself feel softer. Story 27. She texted, "I miss you," after years of telling our kids I was dangerous. When we divorced, the judge gave us joint custody. On paper, it was fair. In reality, she had the kids' ears more often. Slowly, little things changed. My son stopped wanting to sleep at my place. My daughter flinched when I raised my voice even slightly. They started repeating weird phrases. "Mom says you're unstable. Mom says we should be careful with you." I kept a record. Missed drop-offs, late returns, texts where she called me unfit and emotionally abusive. My lawyer said, "It's parental alienation. Document everything." Eventually, the kids became teenagers. They got phones, social media, context. They saw old videos of us laughing, trips I'd paid for that she told them Grandma covered, screenshots I kept of her calling me names while I begged to see them more. They started asking questions. One day, my daughter showed up with a notebook of her own. Dates, times, screenshots of Mom raging about me in group chats with her friends. "I want to live with you," she said. My son nodded. We went back to court. This time, the judge saw more than my word against hers. Custody flipped. She got every other weekend, supervised for a while. 2 nights after the ruling, my phone buzzed. "I miss you. I miss us. We were a family once. How can you do this to me?" To her. Not to the kids. To her. I stared at the message for a long time. Old habits told me to comfort her, explain it's the court, not me, offer to work together. Then I looked at my kids asleep on my couch, finally relaxed. I put the phone on silent and went to bed. Later, my daughter admitted her mom had shown her the unsent messages she'd drafted to win me back. "She kept saying you're heartless," my daughter said. But honestly, it just made me see she still thinks everything is about her. What happened when she said, "I miss you," and I didn't reply? For the first time, my kids saw a version of me that wasn't trapped in her story. Just a dad quietly choosing them over the performance of a family that never really existed.